Back in Tallahassee, Florida State at Doak Campbell Stadium. We'll get you set for the 25th ranked Florida State Seminoles at 3-2, taking on the Pitt Panthers out of the Steel City, the 12th all-time meeting here between these two prestigious programs. Beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. We can't wait for Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. He, of course, is Eric Luallen. I'm Ariya Massoudi. A pleasure to be with you. We'll say hello to Emily Peters in just a moment. Lou, 12th all-time meeting, two teams that don't see each other often. This is a big matchup for Florida State, a big opportunity to get back right after a two-game losing streak.
Yeah, and I think you build off of what you saw in the fourth quarter last week against Miami, take that, kind of run with that, and hopefully that can parlay itself into a fast start here today against Pitt.
No doubt about that. Head coach Mike Norvell, we've got to hear his thoughts on how Florida State plans to bounce back against the Panthers.
I've got a lot of confidence in this group. I really do, and I believe in how they're going to play. I believe in what they're going to be able to apply, and we got it's a very competitive game that's in front of us here Saturday. I mean, you see a talented group that can present a lot of different problems in every phase, and so I want to see our best football show up. I want to see complementary football. We've done that at a high level at points throughout this year, and we're absolutely going to need it on Saturday.
Complimentary football indeed. A Pitt team, you heard Mike Norvell allude to it, defensively especially. That's where they present a lot of different challenges. Tommy Castellanos is going to have to be sharp for Florida State today, but it is a Noles offense that has 400 yards in its last four contests. They have found moments of brilliance so far this season offensively.
Well, and I think, again, you've got to keep doing what's been working for you, but you want to take some of the pressure off Tommy Castellanos. We've seen the turnover bug bite Florida State a little bit here the last 2 weeks against Virginia and Miami. So you want to kind of, I think, go out there and try to take a little bit of that pressure off of him, protect him a little bit better, use that running game, get that going early on, and just see if you can keep this offense rolling.
Yeah, his highlights for Castellanos against Miami a week ago here, prime time at Doak. When we take a look at the way Tommy played in this one, he did it through the air. He did it running the football as well. Key plays, turnovers ended up being the costly thing for Florida State in that one. And Castellanos finding Deuce Robinson early and often, but Tommy finding his wide receiver one throughout the night.
Well, and that's one of the things you can count on Deuce Robinson to be there night in, night out, and we've seen that connection really build so far this season for Tommy Castellanos. Hopefully today we can see some others step up and take a little bit of that pressure off of that tandem of Castellanos and Robinson. But certainly they have become one of the top throwing and catching duos in the country so far this year.
No doubt about that. They came to life, especially in that fourth quarter. Robinson finishing with those 87 yards as I look at my notes. Randy Pittman, another one that has been a consistent force for Florida State, not just blocking at the tight end position, but he's made some big grabs. He had a nice night against the Canes as well.
Well, and you go back to that Virginia game where he had the trio, the throwing, catching, and rushing. Saw more on the catching end against Miami, and you see what a target he can be, what a tool he can be for this offense. And we missed him when he was out, missed a couple of games. Good to see him back in there, and I think that's one of those guys that's going to have to step up here today as far as trying to take some of that pressure off of Deuce Robinson and find another target there for Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah, especially a couple of guys are out today. We got official word that came out. The school put it out. Squirrel White and Javen Boggs won't be able to go for FSU. No Micah Pettis as well. So you got three starters potentially out for FSU today that have been confirmed. That's going to put the onus on Tommy to be able to find some of those receivers. Like you mentioned, maybe a Lawayne McCoy could step up, the youngster out of the 305 in Miami, Florida.
And we saw him have a good game against Miami last week. He had the touchdown, had the two-point conversion. One of his catches there. And, good to see him step up, a guy who's been in the program for a couple of years. So he knows what the expectations are. He understands what Mike Norvell wants, what level of play Mike Norvell expects out of him. So let's see him step up and get to that next level here today with perhaps extra opportunities.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That was his first career touchdown grab there on the throw. Looking at more of where we're going with the offense, this is a Florida State team offensively. When I look at the way they've run the football, it's been at a high level, one of the best teams in the country at doing it.
Yeah, you go back, and the yardage numbers have really piled up for this team. And it's been Gavin Sawchuk who's led the way as far as a feature back, if you want to call it a feature back. And I think, again, that's going to be a guy that they're going to have to look to here today to provide some of that that cover for Tommy Castellanos. And then you've got Castellanos and what a weapon he can be when he drops back or on designed runs. So whether it's pressure on Castellanos that forces him out with one offensive lineman out of the mix here today, maybe that's a little bit more of what we see out of Castellanos. But he's effective both on the scramble and on the designed run.
Yeah, it's a Florida State team who last week ran the ball for 139 yards, I should say, against Miami. But Lulu, it's a team that number one in the ACC, at least, in rushing yards per game, second in the country. How do you foresee the Noles trying to find ways to run the football today against a stout defensive front?
Well, it's a stout defensive front, but I still think you want to line up and just try to play smash-mouth football. That's something that Florida State has done well throughout the course of the season. I think you need to try to get back to that. You got out of it a little bit last week because you fell behind. You had to throw the ball a little bit more. You kind of had to move away from featuring the running game. I'd like to see him get back to that today. It is something that they want to do. So you get an opportunity here, start fresh, start new, and I think get back to the basics here today against a Pitt team. You mentioned the defensive front. They blitz a lot of different looks there for Pitt. So it's going to be an opportunity for them to just kind of get back to what they want to do.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more of the matchup. Noles and Panthers, a look at what to expect from Pitt. Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light, continues.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
Back here on Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. It's so windy right now up here in Tallahassee. You'd have thought we're in Chicago in the Windy City, so we're keeping things down.
Well, and it might be another reason to lean on the running game.
You might have to lean on the running game with the way this thing's whipping around. But this Florida State team playing Pitt for the 12th time in program history. Pitt leads the series 6-5, but Florida State, having won the last time these two teams played, that happening at Acrisure Stadium in the Steel City. Jordan Travis, Jared Verse got the job done. It's unique, right? When the Noles and the Panthers play, it doesn't happen too often.
Well, it's funny. I can remember 1980, Florida State just getting on that national stage, 79, undefeated regular season. They lose in the Orange Bowl to Oklahoma. Pitt was the first team back when it was Bobby Bowden taking on anybody anywhere. Pitt was one of the first nationally prominent programs that came to Tallahassee. And 1980, undefeated Pitt, Dan Marino, Hugh Green. Hugh Green was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy when defensive players didn't get that kind of recognition. 1980, and they came to town. Florida State knocked them off. Battle of unbeatens. Florida State finished that year 10-1, and then ended up losing in the Orange Bowl again to Oklahoma. But so I go back and I remember that game and what a huge moment that was for Florida State in the history of this program. So I always get my feels a little bit when Florida State and Pitt take on one another.
They were a really proud program. You mentioned names like Marino. That is the sign of a powerhouse, especially back in the day that the Pitt Panthers have. You remember that last game? Florida State didn't have Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, and Ja'Kai Douglas came to life for Jordan Travis. They leaned on the defense, and this FSU team in the middle of an undefeated regular season on the way to an ACC championship, that was a big test for them on that day in Pittsburgh.
It was, and if I remember that game, that game didn't seem like a 24-7 game. It seemed much closer than that. It seemed a lot tighter than that score. So it was a really big test for that team on their way to that undefeated regular season.
No doubt about it. I think I remember Fentrell Cypress had had a strip of a long play right at the goal line that prevented 7 points. But this version of Pitt, it's a little bit different. Still Pat Narduzzi. He wants to blitz a lot. Let's take a look at how they played against Boston College, because they started a brand new freshman quarterback, Mason Heinschel, and this Pitt Panther team that had lost two games in a row in brutal fashion bounced back with a new face at QB.
Yeah, they decided to make that change at QB with their incumbent starter struggling a little bit. Mason Heinschel, all the way from the state of Oregon, came out and was just fantastic, over 300 yards thrown. He had 4 touchdowns in that game against Boston College. And, he's a guy, we'll talk a little bit more about him later, but for him to step up and play that way in his first ever start, I think was very impressive. Now we get a chance to see how does he do on the road in what we hope will be a hostile environment here at Doak Campbell, as they have to come in here and take on this 25th-ranked Florida State team.
Yeah, Heinschel taking over for Eli Holstein, who was just turning the ball over too much, at 5 picks in his first 3 games. You see Deuce Spann with the catch there, former Seminole who transferred to Pitt. Heinschel has poise, right, for a freshman quarterback, but it is different on the road when you're playing at Doak Campbell Stadium. Noles going to have to get some pressure on him.
Well, and that's where you want the crowd to come in today. You want the crowd to be a factor. You want him to have to deal with that and get him uncomfortable with the noise level and trying to bark out instructions to his team, because he hasn't had to do that. Again, last time he played on the road, last time he started on the road, he was in high school, and that's not the kind of atmosphere you come across in high school very often.
No doubt about that. You see the jerseys that Pitt's going to. That's a beautiful color combination with the royal blue and the gold there for Pitt, who switched back to their traditional colors a few years ago. So Heinschel at quarterback, a defense that can beat you in a lot of different ways. Pat Narduzzi's known in all of his stops in college football that they're going to blitz. They're going to find ways to pressure the quarterback. Kyle Lewis is a fantastic linebacker. Rasheem Biles, they send those guys early and often.
Yeah, and you're gonna see with Florida State, they'll probably do a lot of max protect stuff. Again, we talked about Pittman and his ability as a receiver, but I think you're going to see him have to block a little bit today too. He's going to have to help out from that aspect of the game, just because of all the blitzing that Pittsburgh likes to do. That also makes it important for Tommy Castellanos. He's really got to get a good look when he gets to the line of scrimmage to make sure he knows what he's looking at, what he sees, and that recognition, the offensive line, and Pettibone, Luke Pettibone at the center position. He's going to have to really be on top of his game. He's got responsibilities in that aspect of recognition that he's going to have to be on top of. So there are a lot of things that Pittsburgh will do to try to confuse you, and a lot of responsibilities within that offense with various players to know what they have to do when they see those looks.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think also without Micah Pettis, that puts the onus on a makeshift O-line trying to figure things out. Defensively, you talk about Pitt, but offensively, how about Desmond Reed, the running back for Pitt, a running back who hasn't played the last couple of games but almost had 1,000 yards rushing 1 season ago. He's a game-time decision for Pitt here today. That could be a big deal.
Well, and the way I look at it, if they're saying he's a game-time decision in a game of this magnitude for Pittsburgh, you're going to see him out on that field. I think you're going to see him on that field today. He'll do what he can to be out there. You see him, that shot right there, out there warming up. The fact that he's in pads, he's running around, is probably a good sign for Pitt, and that's one more weapon that Florida State's going to have to deal with on the defensive side of the football here today, and Tony White and his crew. Yeah,
no doubt about that. And then defensively, we've talked about Kyle Lewis, Rasheem Biles, 2 of the best linebackers in the country. I've got some notes here. Last year, Lewis had 15.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 4 interceptions. And Rasheem Biles, who had 14.5 tackles for loss last year, he's already got 8 here this year. So that defense, aggressive, they're going to try and put the pressure on the Noles, but there are chances for explosive plays. And when you look at Gus Malzahn, that is what the Noles do offensively. They lead the country in explosive plays.
Well, that's where the recognition comes into play for Florida State. You've got to see where the blitzes are coming from. You've got to know what your adjustments, get your side adjustments down. Wide receivers, quarterbacks have responsibilities in that game. The line, they've got responsibilities as far as blitz pickup, dealing off, stunts that the defense brings at you. You've got to really get down to the basics on all of those things in order to really adjust to a defense that's going to give you that much pressure.
Yeah, great stuff from our crew right now showing you on your screen. Leads the ACC in yards per completion, and that's pertinent in this one because when Pitt sends numbers through the box, you're going to have some opportunities for one-on-ones and for explosive plays. It's a Florida State team that leads the country in plays of at least 40 yards on the season. They have 13 plays that have gone for 40 yards or more.
Well, and throw to where the blitz is coming from sounds like pretty basic stuff, but it's pretty basic stuff against the blitz because it works. So you've got to, again, you've got to do a good job if you're Tommy Castellanos, recognizing where those things are coming from. Receivers and Castellanos have to be on the same page. When you hear the term sight adjust, that's an adjustment between receivers and quarterbacks as they try to pick up those blitzes, see where they're coming from, and find the open guy or find the one-on-one matchup and try to hit that guy.
No doubt about that. You see Deuce Robinson on your screen. Could he have a big day for Florida State? He's actually only the second receiver and the first since Crafonzo Thorpe to have 2 games of at least 140 yards. Crow Thorpe, Lincoln High School alum, where I went as well here in Tallahassee. That's a name right there. Deuce Robinson, can we talk about him just for a moment? He has been a huge get out of the portal for Florida State.
Oh, and he's brought it every week, too. And again, you see that connection that he and Tommy Castellanos have, and sometimes you just see that with a quarterback and a receiver. They have a chemistry that just works, and for Tommy Castellanos, that's been his guy. That's been his go-to guy. Now, Pittsburgh's going to try to do some things to take him out, to try to, and when I say take him out, I mean not literally, I mean to try to take him out of the game plan. So that's where other guys have to step up, and that's where Castellanos can't get too dependent on one guy. He's got to be ready to look other places, recognize the double team if it's coming, and then turn around and get to the next guy. Get your check downs, hit that check down, and find your other receivers so you don't become too dependent and too predictable.
No doubt about that. You know, one thing I thought Florida State did very well last week, especially in the fourth quarter, when plays broke down, scramble drills, Tommy Castellanos extending the pocket. I thought the receivers peeled off their routes and did a good job of showing to find spots in the different areas that Miami's defense presented. But that felt like one of the ways the Noles were able to generate some offense. LaWayne McCoy's touchdown catch and 2-point conversion were off of scramble drills in which he just got open.
Well, when you get to your route, if the ball's not there, and you look back and you see the quarterback leaving the pocket when it's a designed pocket pass, you've got to come back to the quarterback. You've got to work your way back towards the line of scrimmage, towards the quarterback, and try to help him out. Try to find ways to get open if the initial route breaks down on you. And that's something they did. They did very well in the fourth quarter. And I thought that was something, again, a positive to see in that fourth quarter for Florida State. And with all the blitzing we're expecting out of Pitt today, I think that comes into play here.
No doubt about that. By the way, happy birthday, Mike Norvell here. You got a game day and a chance for some dessert with the form of a victory for Mike Norvell and the Noles. Defensively for Florida State, they did a great job against Miami, limiting the rushing attack, but they gave up big plays through the air. That's something I think Mason Heinschel and Pitt are going to look to do again here today.
Well, and that was a big difference in that game last week. When you look at the 2 big plays that Miami had, the 2 one-play touchdown drives, 40-plus yard passes, that's something Florida State can't afford to give up. The difference in that game last week, the 2 big plays and the 3 turnovers, Miami scoring 2 touchdowns off of those 3 turnovers. So defensively, you can't do anything about the offense turning the ball over, but you can't give that big play up right when you come out on the field on the first time out after it happens. That's when you really need that stop to get the momentum turned back the other direction. So you look at the game the defense played outside of the 2 big plays, I thought they played a very good game against Miami.
Totally.
Unfortunately, you can't remove those 2 plays from the overall result. You just have to, again, try to build off of the positives that you had in that Miami game and try to eliminate the negative. That's something that you work on. You go out your first practice after a game, you correct mistakes. So I'm sure that's something they focused on this week, and hopefully they'll get that rectified. I think another thing where they can help themselves out here today, freshman quarterback, first road start, get in his face, make him uncomfortable. He's not a running quarterback. He can do it effectively enough, though, if things break down. You're not going to see a lot of design runs for him, but he can do it effectively enough, so you got to make sure you keep contained and you just get in his face, make him uncomfortable.
That'll be a key to the game, no doubt. Game Day Live rolling on when we come back. Emily Peters explores a Florida State tradition that is second to none. Can't wait for you to see this. Stay with us.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me, what will I find?
You're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
anything for Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Thanks.
Game Day Live back here, presented by Bud Light, getting closer to Noles and the Panthers. Well, you know about Osceola and Renegade. It's one of the iconic traditions in all of college football. Our Emily Peters takes you behind the scenes on how the Noles get one of the most iconic traditions ready to go for each game day.
It's the most storied tradition in college football, but it almost never happened. Earlier this week, I sat down with director of Osceola and Renegade pageantry, Alan Durham, to hear more about the tradition at Florida State's pregame. Alan, nearly 50 years ago, your father conceptualized one of the most iconic and beloved traditions in college football. Can you just tell me a little bit about what inspired him?
Sure, he was a student here in the 1960s, and he was a sophomore on the homecoming committee, and they were trying to think of some ways to generate some spirit at Florida State, and Dad had the idea that, you know, we have this great privilege to call ourselves the Seminoles, and what better than to create a symbol that shows our deep respect for the Seminole tribe of Florida, pay tribute to them. And he went to the administration at the time, and they loved the idea of the tribute, but they weren't real sure about the horse on the field and flaming spear and all those things. But Dad didn't give up on it, and when Coach Bowden came to coach here in the 1970s, Dad became friends with him and was just out at his house one night, and they were talking about symbols, and Coach Bowden was saying, you know, we really need a symbol here at Florida State, and Dad saw that as the perfect opportunity to say, well, Coach Bowden, I've had this idea, and told him, you know, about his concept for Osceola and Renegade. Coach Bowden loved it. And the very first thing Dad did after that was the thing he felt was most important, and that was to go and meet with the Seminole Tribe of Florida and make sure they were okay with this. So Dad made an appointment with Chairman Howard Tommy, who was the chairman of the tribe at the time, and he went down and met with him and described what he wanted to do at Florida State. And he made Chairman Tommy several promises that we adhere to this day. And the fact that we also would not over-commercialize the image. That's why you don't see Osceola and Renegade a lot. You only see them when we're here at Doak Campbell Stadium for a home football game, our homecoming parade, occasionally when we get to go on the road for a neutral site game like a bowl game. The only exception that we make to that is 14 years ago, we were invited by the Seminole Tribe of Florida to come and participate at the Brighton Field Day celebration that they have every year. They've been having this celebration for over 80 years now at the Brighton Reservation. And so we have been doing that and participating in that now for over 14 years, and that is our highest honor. You mentioned the Seminole Tribe of Florida. What role does that relationship play in maintaining this iconic tradition? It's everything. It is with their permission that we get this great honor to portray Osceola and have the Osceola and Renegade pageantry and use the name Seminole. So it is very important to us for the interaction that we have with the tribe, going back, as I've mentioned earlier, to that first meeting that Dad had in 1977, to our interactions that we have with the tribe today. Now, you mentioned the history. I'm curious how this tradition has evolved too over time, and also maintained, of course, the respectfulness and make sure it's impactful for all of the future Seminole generations. The thing about traditions is that you try to do that the same way all the time once you find out that it's there and it's working. And so just as we formed the routine in 1978 with the horse and rider leading the team out onto the field, planting the spear at the center of the field, that still happens just that way here in 2025. And what has it meant to you to take over this tradition for your father? It's an incredible honor. I'm very proud of Dad and certainly all that he went through to put all this together. So it's been something that's been part of my life since I was a little kid. I can remember being in our garage working with Dad as he built the first spear and came up with the idea for it to be on fire and all those things. Then when Dad decided to step back a bit back in 2006, I turned to my wife, and she's a Florida State graduate and also a huge help, my wife Patty, and we said let's make sure we continue it on. And so we took over the program back in 2007, although Dad's still very involved, and as well all of our wonderful members of the Renegade team.
Thank you, Alan. Osceola and Renegade will be hitting the field shortly, but before that, I've got Seminole Tribe Representative Kyle Doney here with me. Thank you so much for your time. Now, Alan just talked about, the relationship with the Seminole Tribe of Florida and Florida State. Will you talk about working with the Durham family?
I've known the Durham family for about 20 years now. I initially met them back in 2005 when the NCAA was trying to remove the name Seminoles from Florida State University. And at that time, the late TK Weatherall came down to the tribe and was giving a resolution that, the tribe supported FSU in their name. And I had asked the administration at that time, had a Seminole actually participated in the tradition tribute planting the spear? And they told me no, and so they received the resolution, went back to the NCAA, and we remained the Seminoles. And then about a couple weeks later, I received a call from TK's office, and he said, would you like to plant the spear for the Miami game on Labor Day? And I said, of course, and so ever since then, I've known the Durham family.
And now this relationship between the Seminole Tribe of Florida and Florida State goes back beyond Osceola and Renegade, this tradition. Can you just talk about the relationship between the university and the tribe?
Well, since my time, the relationship has grown. With each administration that has been at this university, there's been a level of respect. And since, I guess, my working with the university, it's just grown. And I just love to see the amount of respect and, I guess, the opportunity they give us to actually voice our opinions and how we're represented.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for all that you do and your time. Ariya, back to you guys.
Emily, Kyle, Alan, appreciate you very much. Time to take a break. When we come back, we'll join our friends here inside the stadium at Doak Campbell Stadium. Noles, Panthers, we're getting close.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
Featuring the Pitt Panthers and your Florida State Seminoles. Let's welcome to Ariya for Game Live, presented by Bud Light.
Game Day Live presented by Bud Light. Should be a big one here in Tallahassee. The QB matchup, Ariya Massoudi and Eric Luallen. We can't wait for this one between a veteran and Tommy Castellanos and a rookie making his first start, Mason Heinschel. What are you looking for from this one, Lulu?
Well, hopefully we see Tommy Castellanos go over 5,000 career yards here today, 48.09, so he's close. Mason Heinschel, first career start, came last week, 4 touchdowns, 323 yards. He was impressive. This is the first time he's had to start on the road. Hopefully the crowd will be a factor in this one today and make it more difficult for him in that first road start.
What are you looking for from the rookie QB out of Pitt, Mason Heinschel, today?
He's a guy, he'll drop back. He can take off and run. Won't see a lot of design runs with him, but he can take off and run if he needs to. Big, strong-arm guy, and again, he was impressive last week against Boston College.
No doubt about that. 70% completion percentage. It's a Pitt team that ranks amongst the top in the country in blitzing the quarterback and finding pressures. It's an FSU team, Lulu, today that's going to have to find ways to generate big plays.
Yeah, you've got to be able to pick up the blitz. Everybody's got a part in that. Offensive linemen have a part in that. The quarterback's got a part in that. The receivers have a part in that. They've all got things they've got to key on as far as blitzing. They've all got to be on their game for that today.
No doubt about it. Lulu, give me 3 picks to click today. Who are you keeping your eye on for Florida State?
Gavin Sawchuk. Let's get back to that running game. We had to go away from it falling behind last week. Get back to that running game, something that Florida State wants to do. Next, somebody to step up other than Deuce Robinson in that passing game. How about LaWayne McCoy? Had his first career touchdown last week against Miami. So let's see him step up and get it done today. And then I think in the secondary, Florida State's got to be able to get things done against this rookie quarterback.
No doubt about that. Give me 3 keys to the game for Florida State today. How do the Noles get win number 4 on the year?
Get off to a fast start. Get ahead of this ball club. Make that freshman have to play from behind. Also, limit the big plays. Again, 2 big plays last week for Miami. Limit those and protect the football. We had 3 turnovers last week, led to 2 touchdowns. Don't give it up today. Don't give Pittsburgh any free possessions.
No doubt about it. The 12th all-time meeting between these 2 outstanding programs. A beautiful day for football. Enjoy the game and go Noles. And for those of you still watching here on the app and on social media, we're going to take a break. When we return, we'll be joined by 2 Florida State legendary coaches and good friends of mine. We'll honor them as a part of cancer awareness here today. Can't wait. Brooke Wyckoff, Lonnie Alameda. We cannot wait. Stay with us.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find.
You're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
Anything for Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Thanks.
And now, the starting lineups for your Florida State Seminoles. Special teams, long snapper, Mason Arnold, Tampa, Florida.
Back here on Game Day Live, and I cannot put into words with these 2 people who are sitting next to me, and we'll get to them in just a moment. But before we do that, the Bud Light great moment this week, it goes to volleyball as we honor women's sports. And Kylene Filamawa, Florida State did fall to SMU, but they battled in a career-high 25 kills for Filamawa in this one at Tully Gym. The Noles have a big one tomorrow against the Pitt Panthers as well. So the Noles and the Panthers wrapping up an entire weekend here in Tallahassee, not just on the gridiron, but in Tully Gym as well. So that's our Bud Light great moment. And now you come out, these 2 beautiful ladies sitting next to me here, 2 good, very good friends of mine, and joining us here on the program for a special day. It's Cancer Awareness Day here at Doak Campbell Stadium and Cancer Awareness Month. 2 people that have been impacted by this personally, and I've watched both of your journeys, and again, I can't thank you both enough for being here for this. What a wonderful overall day to be able to do this. Brooke, we'll start with you. To have this kind of recognition today, to continue to raise awareness, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means everything, just having personally gone through this and, to the support that you feel. It's part of the process of healing when you know that you have people around you, family around you, Seminole family with you, and also just to be public figures that show others that are going through the same thing that we got them too.
No doubt about that. Brooke, what does a support mean from a community like this?
Yeah. like I said, everything. It is literally part of the healing process. We go through our treatment, all the medical and physical things, but that spiritual support that you feel, that love, really does help get you through and come out on the other side.
Doubt about that. Coach, I'm going to come to you here as well. Your battle's been documented too. We're with you. We love you. But not just the softball community. It's been everyone from softball to basketball to football to baseball. It really is a Seminole family here that have kind of held hands together and tried to will you through it.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you are accepted, into the sorority that you didn't know you were going to be a part of, I think that everyone shares their stories, and so many people have been touched by it. So when you walk into, when we travel with baseball and they're all wearing the shirt, or when I go to a football practice and, coaches and players come over, it's moms and aunts and uncles and, and it's just not breast cancer, it's cancer in general, and it touches home with everybody. So you become the person they want to wrap their arms around and hug, and, we do it together because we've gone through it together, but so many as caregivers go through it too, and they see how hard it is. And so just so appreciative of that, but then also to wrap our arms around other people too, because I know it hurts, it's really tough on a family and really tough on people. And so we've just experienced, and Brooke's been amazing for me as a person to call and, just comfort on that side. So, so love the community and grateful for it.
Yeah, to see everyone wearing pink, how much does that mean to you? Obviously, the Paint It Pink games have been a big thing throughout this program. Coach, we'll start with you. To see that type of support, wearing pink, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's an awareness, It's kind of like, you go anywhere in the world and you see garnet gold and you connect right away, and now you go anywhere and you see pink or you see a ribbon and you connect right away, and it takes you to your experience, but you also understand there's so many other people that this is bringing awareness to. And then there's a fight, and there's a fight that we all need to continue to grow and support and fundraise for. And, I think that's the biggest thing I've experienced right now. I used to go be a part of community service, and now I'm going and I'm part of the family that's being brought back from, the cancer battle right now. And I'm on my tail end of it, but I've been sitting there with people that can't afford to do things or can't afford to stay in a hotel when they're feeling just blah. And when I say blah, there's a lot of words in there you can't say on TV, like just, and like to be able to help and fundraise for that is just, there's a fight we all need to be a part of.
No doubt about that. Brooke, last night lighting the spear, what did that mean to you? How cool of a moment was that?
It was another amazing moment, just where you feel the pride and just support of being a part of the Seminole family. And to be there with Coach Laux and to be a part of that really special moment, there's nothing like it. And it just gets me fired up and excited to be a part of this and to bring other people into it. We've got something special here at Florida State, and I just love being part of those moments where it all comes together.
I had chills watching that video there of the spear lighting. Cool. Coach, you mentioned it, Lonnie. I wish this wouldn't have happened to either of you. However, the platform that you guys now both have, I'll start with you, and I would want to hear from you too, Brooke. The platform you have to raise this awareness and to support others who are going through similar battles. What does that mean to you, and how have you embraced that?
Yeah, I think we're lucky because we played the sport that we're a part of, and then now we're leading in the sport that we're a part of. And there's so much things in life you pull from sport. And so, I'm one of four, and I'm the lucky one that gets to be picked because, I feel like I can give all my coaching abilities and teammate ability to, be the positive person in this. And then maybe I can be the positive person for my right and left when I get into some of those cancer treatments and people, that they're kind of wanting to have a chat. Sometimes you're in the 3-4 hours, so you're chatting with a lot of people and, it's hard to bring the positive to it, but it's just like in a game when you're dealing with failure, you're dealing with things, you just got to flip the mindset. And so I just try to flip that mindset and be about what's next, and we can be positive, we can get you through this. And, whether it's Brooke or someone else, I'm here for you, and, I'll see you next week when we're here for cancer again, treatment again. And so, so I just think pulling from that part of it has been really big for us.
Yeah. It gives people hope. That's such a huge part of the process is you need hope when you're fighting any kind of battle, whether it's in a game or against cancer. And so using our platform, again, we wouldn't have wished this for us or anybody else, but to be able to use that platform, it brings hope. And we're given hope because people know our stories. They come and they definitely give back to us.
About that, cancer has touched my own family as well personally. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you guys, have both of you here about your teams. I got to at least know about the season coming up. Coach of Team 43,
Yep.
What can we expect from the Noles there in the circle and getting ready over at Graf Stadium?
Yeah, well, I guess first of all, I just want to say thanks to all the alumni on the team. We talk about family, and I think Tallahassee's special for that reason. But they have just supported endlessly this journey, and they are in the fight and the family part of it. And moving forward, Team 43 has really have that foundation right now. They're part of this end of the journey with me, and but we're going to be fast. We got 9 new faces out there that a lot of people come out and like, whoa, there's a lot of people, but it's going to be so fun. They're driven. We're led by good returning veterans right now, and we kicked off this year with a London trip that was fun. So it wasn't softball, it was like team, and now we're building off of that.
Brooke, your team last year, you get the second round. You guys have a lot of new faces as well, a lot of optimism. Give us a quick preview of your team this year.
Yeah, a lot of new faces, but 3 great returners, our leaders, our captains, and Avery, Amaya, and Sid. We're going to be playing Seminole basketball fast, scoring a lot of points, and getting after it on the defensive end.
No doubt about it. I can't wait to come watch both of your teams play. Can I get a score prediction for today on the football field?
Oh my gosh, it's a W.
Dub.
It's all that matters. W, right? Yeah.
2 dubs, 3 for 3
Yeah.
on the dubs. Guys, your friendship means a lot to me. Appreciate you guys taking a few minutes. You've got the support of the Seminole family. We love you guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Love you too, Ariya.
Yep.
Florida State in Pitt, getting ready for football. It should be a lot of fun. Noles looking for win number 4 on the year on the gridiron. Trying to get some explosive plays against a Pitt defense. It's going to send a lot of pressure. I want to thank everybody involved in this program here today. These two, of course, Eric Luallen, our producer, director, and a man of many talents, Kirby Kander, our sideline reporter, Emily Peters. This has been Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. Enjoy the game. I'm Ariya Massoudi. Go Noles.
Go Noles.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of colors in the North End Zone by the FSU Army ROTC. We ask that you remove all headgear and join in singing as the marching chiefs perform our national anthem, which will be signed for the hearing impaired at the North 40-yard line by Caitlin Figueroa. Today's anthem will be conducted by FSU Assistant Director of Athletic Bands, Dr. Devin Moore.